So Miraculous Ladybug is a series with a lot of transformations and abilities, with near enough every character having access to a Miraculous of their very own. But have you ever wondered how many Miraculous actually currently exist in the series, and how many have actually been seen throughout the entire 5 seasons so far? And what are all their abilities and who are their holders? Well, with these thoughts in mind and to celebrate the upcoming Season 6, we are here to explain them all. And I mean them all, with no power or Miraculous being considered too small. So with that said, and without wasting any more of your time, let's begin with the lovely Ladybug herself, who is of course the main lead of the series and the hero of the story. And following the sad retirement of Master Fu, she is now the current guardian of all the Miraculous that currently exist. She has vowed to keep the Miraculous and the world safe from those that would seek their power for their own goals. The Ladybug Miraculous, which appears as a set of earrings, allows Marinette the power of creation. And being that ladybugs symbolize good luck, this manifests itself as an object generating lucky charm, which she can then use to defeat foes and restore the world and any damage that it has taken during the fight back to being good as new. This is of course done when she has restored the evil akumatized moth back to its true beautiful butterfly form. Now, aside from Marinette herself, this power has been seen used by Adrien, Alia, and Gabriel Agreste. Though aside from Adrien, who is seen using it quite a few times in the series, the others were only ever seen using it temporarily. Now, as for the power-ups that come with the Ladybug Miraculous, this is of course achieved when Tiki consumes one of several special potions, after which the Ladybug Miraculous and its holder transform their abilities and outfit into something much more suited to the current situation. So far, only 7 potions have been shown in the series, but it is believed that there exists a hell of a lot more just waiting to be shown. Now, the Ladybug Miraculous is also considered the most dangerous Miraculous that exists, at least when it is paired with the Miraculous of the cat. But we'll of course come back to that later in this video. Now up next we have the Butterfly Miraculous, which until recently was seen in the possession of Gabriel Agreste, aka Hawkmoth, aka Shadowmoth, aka Monarch. The guy has a lot of fucking names. But now it is currently in the hands of Sarish Bianca, otherwise known as Lila Rossi. This Miraculous appears as a locket brooch and grants the power of transmission. And because butterflies are symbolic of transformation, this manifests itself as the magical ability of transference, causing transformation in other living things. Once transformed, however, the holder is then able to establish a telepathic link with the person they have just akumatized. This can of course grant villains such as Hawkmoth the power to push and pull that person's emotions in order to fully akumatize them over to their side. When fully transformed into a superhero or a super villain by using this power, that person will then be granted a unique superpower of their very own. And this is arguably the biggest reason why this ability to this day is considered one of the strongest in all of the series, because the potential and the kinds of powers that can be granted to another person at this very moment appears to be limitless. But with that said, and quickly moving on, next we have the Bee Miraculous, which is shaped like a hair comb. This Miraculous grants the power of subjection, or as it later became, according to Thomas Astruc, the power of action. This power of course manifests itself through the user's stingers, which have the ability to completely paralyze anyone or anything that it has touched. Now whatever the user does paralyze will remain as such for an undetermined amount of time, or until that user decides to free them. This Miraculous was once wielded by the annoying Chloe Bourgeois, but is now currently held by her beautiful and charismatic half-little sister, Zoe Lee, who of course uses this power to become the superhero Vesperia. However, in the episode Optigami, Marinette uses the Bee Miraculous and the Ladybug Miraculous temporarily to become Lady Bee, which essentially just granted her the abilities of both Miraculous at the same time. Now, aside from the paralyzing ability and the standard strength, speed, and agility attributes that are granted to every wielder of a Miraculous, there really isn't all that much to say about this ability overall. So let's just leave it there and move right along to the Dog Miraculous. Now, the Dog Miraculous is actually one that is seen quite a bit in the series and is potentially one of the most clutch Miraculous abilities of all time. Because you see, the Dog Miraculous has the power of adoration, which essentially allows the user the ability known as fetch, which basically makes it possible to regain any arbitrary object that has already been touched by that user's ball. This of course has helped Ladybug in defeating Hawkmoth countless times throughout the series, and is an ability that I'm sure is going to be used a lot more in the future, potentially by its current holder, Sabrina, though she'd likely have to get permission from Chloe Bourgeois before she'd ever be allowed to do it. But in all seriousness, I do think out of the many who have used this power so far, Sabrina might actually be the most perfect choice for the power, given that her dad is already a police officer and they are often associated or seen with dogs in their operations. Meaning her becoming the dog holder was almost fated to be from the moment of this show's introduction of that ability. But now with that said, let's move on to the Dragon Miraculous, which grants the power of perfection, which means that almost immediately we're expecting some pretty big things from it and its holder. Now the dragon in Chinese mythology is often associated with extreme weather conditions such as storms, wind, and of course, lightning. Now this of course has manifested itself in the ability to transform its user into those multiple different weather conditions. Again, wind, water, and lightning. This Miraculous is shaped like a choker and is worn around the neck of its holder, who is currently the near-perfect Kagami Tsurugi. Now in terms of abilities, this Miraculous makes many of the others look completely weak, because before the user would have to change back like many of the others, they'd first have to use all 3 of their abilities, meaning that unlike many of the other Miraculous users and heroes in the show, Kagami can actually remain in the fight for a lot longer. Plus, and this might just be my own bias, just having 3 uniquely strong abilities is just really cool in my opinion. So that said, I'd have to put the Dragon Miraculous up there as one of the cooler Miraculous in the show. But now quickly moving on, next we have the Miraculous of the Eagle, which is a talon pendant necklace that offers the power of liberation, which essentially gives the user the ability to free a person from mental and emotional restrictions. Now the Eagle Miraculous is currently owned by Jessica Kines, who is a superhero from the United States of America and Night Owl's partner and daughter. She was initially known as Sparrow, before gaining the Miraculous and becoming the hero with the unique name, Eagle. Now once in Eagle form, Jessica gains all the regular abilities of every Miraculous user, as well as the special tool called the Bull Roar, which she can then utilize as a weapon or as a communicator, but mostly as a weapon. And a fun fact about the Miraculous of the Eagle is that Gilbert du Mortier, the once previous user of this power, actually passed it on to George Washington himself as a symbol of the friendship between the French and the United States, which is why this Miraculous currently resides in the United States rather than in France like all the others. Which in my opinion is just a cool little detail and something I really do hope they do again with all the other Miraculous abilities and maybe heroes from the past. Now with that said, up next we have the Miraculous of the Fish, which is currently an unused and unexplored Miraculous found in the magical jewelry box. They are a pair of bluefish earrings that house the kwami of the fish, and as of right now their special ability is currently unknown, but due to it being a fish symbolizing fertility, eternity, happiness, health and change, it's likely something related to that in some way or another. Meaning it's entirely possible for this ability to have something to do with healing. Potentially something like the waterbenders from the Avatar series, which of course can use water to heal. But again, for now, this is all just speculation. But how cool would it possibly be? Up next, we have the Miraculous of the Fox, which is the pendant that whenever Trix inhabits it, transforms the wearer into a Fox team superhero with the power of illusion. This necklace is currently owned by Alia, who uses it to transform into the hero Rena Rouge. Its special weapon is an unbreakable flute, which like all Miraculous weapons can be utilized as a weapon and a communicator, but mostly again, as a weapon. When played however, this flute can be used to cast out and create any mirage that the holder wishes, which also made this power quite annoying to deal with when it was in the hands of Lila Rossi, who of course used it to create many issues around all of France that she would then solve, even once using it to create a mirage of a meteor that she would then catch and throw back into space. But now aside from this power being incredibly annoying for heroes like Ladybug and Cat Noir to deal with, it's a power that I personally find incredibly fun to watch, because the twists and the turns around what's actually real and what isn't is incredibly fun and interesting to witness. But now quickly moving on, next we have the Miraculous of the Goat, which of course has the power of Genesis, which basically gives the user the ability to create an object of their desire, which they can then use to obtain their goal, which can be absolutely anything. This Miraculous is a pair of hair clips that are currently housed on the head of Nathaniel Kurtzberg, the artist who is extremely talented at drawing cartoon characters. Now his art skills make him beyond perfect for this Miraculous ability because it's a Miraculous that is pretty much only limited by its holder's own ability to create something interesting. Which again, for an artist of his caliber, he can do just about anything. So again, he can create just about anything. So I guess you could say the Goat Miraculous, when paired with Nathaniel, is a bit overpowered because it has the potential to do and create just about anything that he can imagine. But now up next we have the Horse Miraculous, which is a pair of glasses that are currently in Max's possession. This Miraculous grants him the power of teleportation. This is of course because horses are normally associated with freedom and fleetness, which manifests itself through the ability called Voyage, which again is basically the ability to teleport from place to place. Now although it is stated that this is the power of teleportation, some official materials actually state that this is actually the power of migration, though they both kind of relate to travel in some way or another, so I don't think it matters all that much. Now, using this power and his superior intellect, Max in his Pegasus hero form has proven himself to be one of the more formidable superheroes on Ladybug's team, and someone I'm sure will shine even brighter in the coming season. Up next we have the Miraculous of the Lion, which again is another Miraculous that is yet to be seen in the official series. But fear not, because fans have taken it upon themselves to make fan concepts and videos around this ability and what they expect the holder to look like. And honestly, I can't lie, they kinda killed it. If the holder of the Lion Miraculous actually looks like this, then we are truly in for a treat. Like, to me, she's borderline perfect. Like, look at her. But now, as for the possible Lion Miraculous abilities, well, it's widely theorized that the Greek hero Hercules once used this power to gain fame for all his strengths and feats, which, if true, could hint at the Lion Miraculous possessing the power of super strength. This is also, of course, backed by the fun fact that lions symbolize pride, strength, and leadership. But again, just like the Miraculous of the Fish, it's all just speculation at this point in time. So that said, let's move on to a Miraculous that we actually know about, the Monkey, which is a circlet that whenever Subaru inhabits it, transforms its wielder into a monkey team superhero with the power of derision, which I can't lie, is a word that I had to actually look up when making this video. because I don't know about you, but derision isn't something that I use in my day-to-day vocabulary. But anyway, the power of derision basically allows Kim, its holder, the special power called Uproar, which gives him the ability to summon a toy-like item, which upon contact with anyone with abilities would cause the victim's power to malfunction for a short period of time. However, this does not affect the Monkey Miraculous wearer himself. Now this basically just means that the Monkey Miraculous is a direct counter to the Butterfly Miraculous, given that it can basically mess up anyone who has been akumatized and any of their abilities that they may have, although I wouldn't associate Kim as the most reliable person for a task like that. The guy is pretty much a complete and utter dumbass. But anyway, next we have the Mouse Miraculous, which is a coin pendant that whenever Mulo inhabits it, transforms his wearer into a Mouse Team superhero with the power of multiplication. This Miraculous is currently Mayleen's possession and allows her the special superpower called Multitude, which basically gives her the ability to shrink down and create numerous clones of herself, which can then roam around for an indeterminate amount of time. This ability is of course a reference to the rapid rate in which rodents can reproduce. Because although Monday you may only have 2 mice in your house, come Friday you are almost certain to have at least 10.
No, he's straight pile driving them. Now, how is that information going to help me do my job?
Now next on the list is the Ox Miraculous, which is a nose ring that whenever Stomp inhabits it, transforms his wearer into an Ox Team superhero with the power of determination. It is currently owned by Ivan, who uses it to transform into the hero Minotaur Ox. It was previously stored in the Chinese magical box and was only ever lent out to him when the situation required it. However, following the offense at the end of Season 5, Marinette has of course recovered it and gave it back to him permanently. Now when Ivan's in hero form, he gains the power of resistance, which basically grants him the ability to become immune to any and all other abilities. Which in a show where there's a hell of a lot of abilities, this is actually pretty fucking strong. Up next we have the Miraculous of the Peacock, which grants the power of emotion. This is because peacocks are often symbolic of awakening, guidance, protection, and watchfulness, which is why the power manifests itself as the materialization of a sentimonster created by one's emotions. It's approached that whenever Dozu inhabits it, transforms its wearer into a Peacock Team superhero, or as it is more commonly seen throughout the series, into a Peacock Team supervillain. The brooch is currently owned by Felix Fathom, who uses it to transform into Argos. But a fun fact about Felix himself is that he himself is in fact a human sentimonster created by his own dad. This was of course out of the incredibly strong emotion of jealousy that his dad had towards Gabriel and his family, which is a hell of a big reason for why he looks so identical to Adrian Agreste. Now it was revealed later on by Gabriel Agreste that this Miraculous was actually damaged under some unknown circumstances, when it was of course in the possession of Adrian's mother. However, despite this, Natalie still chose to use this power to become the supervillain known as Mayura. However, once again, this of course resulted in her becoming increasingly ill over the course of the show. Now at the end of the Miracle Queen episode, Gabriel was able to repair the Miraculous and subsequently use his power of monster creation to achieve his own ends. All in all, it's definitely an ability that is one of the more powerful in the Miraculous series, and is one that I'm sure we only touched the surface on in terms of what it can actually do. Up next is the Miraculous of the Pig, which is a pearl anklet that whenever Daisy inhabits it, transforms his wearer into a pig team superhero with the power of jubilation. Now the pig of course symbolizes sincerity, generosity, and prosperity, which is why the miraculous power granted to its holder is the power of gift, which basically allows the user to distract their target by showing them a vision of something that makes them truly happy. Now this pearl anklet is currently owned by Rose, who uses it to transform into Pigella, which I can't lie isn't the most flattering of superhero names. However, Pigella's name does however allude to the classic fairy tale Cinderella, which of course was a character who used magic to achieve their greatest desire. So I guess the name isn't all that bad and does kind of fit the related power. Moving on, up next we have the Miraculous of the Rabbit, which is actually my favourite miraculous ability in the entire show. Now the Rabbit Miraculous grants the power of evolution, and because rabbits are often associated with the ability to hide, as well as great speed and agility, this manifests itself as the ability to burrow through time, or in simple terms, the ability to time travel. The Time Miraculous is a pocket watch that, whenever Fluff inhabits it, transforms its wearer into a rabbit team superhero. The current holder is of course the immensely brave Alex, aka Bunny X. Now Alex, after of course being asked by Ladybug herself, decided to remain inside one of her time burrows in order to keep the Time Miraculous away from Monarch's control. She was only ever allowed to return once they have managed to defeat him completely, which I can't lie was always one of the sadder storylines in my opinion. Because here you have this poor child being told that she has to leave her dad, her friends, and everything she knows behind for the sake of protecting a world that she's barely even been in for about 5 minutes. It was a storyline that, aside from being incredibly sad, really highlighted her strength of character and honestly potentially turned her into one of my personal favourite characters of all time. And she's definitely just a character with a miraculous ability that deserves a lot more screen time in the series, and I really hope she does get some in the near future. But now up next we have the Rooster Miraculous, which is a thumb ring that whenever Oriko inhabits it transforms its wearer into a Rooster team superhero with the power of pretension. Now roosters of course symbolize pride, honesty and watchfulness, as well as flamboyance. Its special superpower is of course called sublimation, which allows the user to gain any ability of their desire in order to obtain their goal, which like the Miraculous of the Goat basically means that this Miraculous is only really limited by its holder's creativity. But now given that the current holder of this Miraculous is Mark, I don't think we have to worry too much in that regard, given that he's basically the mind behind Nathaniel's comic book stories, meaning he's potentially the most creative character in the entire series, at least as of right now. But now moving right along, up next we have the Miraculous of the Snake, which grants the power of intuition. This is because snakes often symbolize rebirth and wisdom, which of course manifests itself in the power to receive a second chance, which basically means that the user of this bracelet can continuously repeat the same moment over and over again until they get it right. It's the magical power of Groundhog Day, which is currently in the possession and trusty hands of Luca, who of course used it to transform into the hero called Viperion. Now according to Dragonbug, the Snake Miraculous is actually one of the more dangerous Miraculous abilities that actually exists in the show, at least if it was to fall into the hands of evil. The only ability actually surpassing it in terms of dangerousness is the Rabbit Miraculous, which of course has the ability to destroy all time itself. Now it should also be noted however that many do also believe that this power will one day be used for evil, given the snake's inherent nature to backstab and double cross, but that again is just speculation at this point in time. Moving on, next we have the Tiger Miraculous, which is a Panja's bracelet that whenever Roar inhabits it transforms its wearer into a Tiger team superhero with the power of elation, which of course grants the ability called Clout, which basically gives its user the ability to charge their fist with immense energy. This energy also gives them a sudden burst of courage and fighting spirit. When the user punches someone or something with this energy, the energy is released through a massive force in which that thing or that person is blown away in a massive shockwave of power. This is of course to highlight the symbolism found between the tiger and its characteristics such as willpower, courage, and personal strength. The current holder of this power is the immensely self-conscious Julika, who when in hero form takes on the name of Purple Tigress, which also appears to grant her much more confidence than she regularly has. But now with that said, let's move on to the Turtle Miraculous, which is actually the second last Miraculous on this list. Now this Miraculous grants the power of protection, and this is of course due to turtles often symbolizing protection and longevity. Now Nino, the current holder of this power, uses the bracelet infused with waste to become the hero called Caterpace, who is often seen throughout the series using their power called Shelter to protect all those in danger with a near unbreakable shield. This Miraculous once belonged to Master Fu himself, of course before his retirement, and it's a fairly basic Miraculous overall and there really isn't much to speak of, but it is one that exists, so it does of course have to be mentioned. But now with all of that out of the way, next we have the final Miraculous on our list, which of course is none other than the most destructive Miraculous of all time, the Cat Miraculous, which is actually stated to have the power to destroy the entire world, or at least Plague, the Kwami who inhabits it, has the power to destroy the entire world. Now the Black Cat Miraculous is a ring that whenever Plague inhabits it transforms Adrian into a Black Cat team superhero with the power of destruction. Adrian uses this Miraculous to transform into the hero known as Cat Noir, which of course is the partner and the second main lead of the Ladybug series. This Miraculous also grants the special ability called Cataclysm, which basically gives the user the ability to completely damage and destroy an object of their desire. All they of course have to do is touch it with their hand. But that's not all, as it also provides its holder with other cat-like abilities such as super stealth, night vision, and enhanced hearing. And just like the Ladybug Miraculous, the Cat Miraculous also allows its user multiple power-ups of their choosing. All Adrian of course has to do is get Plague to consume one of several special potions, which would then transform him and his outfit into something far more suited to the current situation. However, so far only several potions currently exist in the series, but it is believed that there is a hell of a lot more just waiting to be seen. Now if the Ladybug and Cat Miraculous are used together at the same time, their holder will achieve the absolute power to alter reality itself. They will gain the ability to have any wish of their desire granted, no matter what it might be. However, because the universe must maintain its balance, every action has an equal or opposite reaction, which basically means that if you wish to heal someone or bring someone back to life, another life must take their place in return. Which of course was seen when Gabriel Agreste wished for his wife to return, which of course in turn meant that someone would have to take her place, which of course he did just to have her come back. But as for what exactly has changed so far in the world because of this wish, well that awaits to be seen in the upcoming season 6. But for now, that's about it for this video and explaining every Miraculous that currently exists in the show. If you enjoyed and would like to see more videos like this in the future, please be sure to like the video down below and consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. It really helps us out a lot and I would really appreciate it. But for now, and with all that said, I'm out. Have a great day or night wherever you are, and peace.